Beloved of God, we have now come to the seventh word of Jesus from the cross. The seventh word to live by. It is a word taken from Psalm 31, verses 1 through 5. The second time Jesus reaches to the Psalms to take a word as he was in his most distressed hour. In Psalm 31, 1 through 5, we find these words. In you, Lord, I have taken refuge. Let me never be put to shame. Deliver me in your righteousness. Turn your ear to me. Come quickly to my rescue. Be my rock and refuge, a strong fortress to save me. Since you are my rock and my fortress, for the sake of your name, lead and guide me. Keep me free from the trap that is set before me. For you are my refuge. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Deliver me, Lord, my faithful God. Our Lord on the cross reached back to that song as he lay dying, but proclaiming life, and said to his Father in that 23rd chapter at 46th verse of Luke, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. I want you to know that that was a word of trust at his most difficult hour. Some of us are facing some difficult times. As a matter of fact, right now, we all are facing difficult times. The world is facing difficult times. In this hour, we seem to be stressed on every side. There's the fear of sickness and death. There is the fear of the loss of loved ones. There is grief. There is just stillness when we want to be somewhere. There is cabin fever when we're living on top of one another. There is questions about whether I'll have a job when this is all through, or how will I make it through without a job, even during this time. There are questions of whether going to work during this time will harm me. But I want you in all of this distress to hear this word of trust from Jesus. I want you to hear him at a moment when he had every right to doubt, proclaim his trust to his Father. He had already felt the weight of sin and hatred from humankind, and somehow found the muster to say to them, Father, forgive them. He had already felt the weight of loneliness. He had already felt the weight of abandonment even by God. He had felt thirst in his body. And yet in all of that, somehow he found a way to trust. I want to let you know, even as we are going through so much in this day and time, that word of trust was trust in God's plan. And while the world may seem to be in chaos right now, I want you to know that God ain't in chaos. I want you to know that he's still in control, and he still has a plan. Somehow, it seems like a word of trust makes us want to call trust from us at a time when it seems like every plan we've put on the books has gone astray. Well, I had a plan for this for January, February, March, and April, and it's all gone astray now. I thought I had walking with the Lord and that we were going in a certain direction. I knew it was going to all work out in a certain way. And now all of those things have seemed to be torn apart. The table has seemed to be pushed aside, and everything on it has seemed to be thrown to the floor. How can I trust when it seems that every plan I had from this year has come crushing to the ground? Well, I heard a word from the Bible telling us to trust in the Lord with all our heart and to lean not into our own understanding. In all our ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our path. I know it may seem like it's chaos right now, but let me encourage you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. Time when we're called to be still is a wonderful time just to say, God, I'm trusting in your plan. Jesus knew the Father had a plan. He knew he didn't come here to stay. The Bible says that he knew that he had come from the Father, he was loved by the Father, and he was going to return to the Father. God has a plan. Just trust in that plan. I want you to know that this word of trust not only was a trust in God's plan, it was a trust in God's power. While it seems like Jesus may have been a victim in this moment, Jesus wants us to know that this man on the cross was anything but a victim. He said, nobody takes my life. I freely lay it down. I lay it down and I'll pick it back up again. The Bible says that he could have called legions of angels to his side, but he chose not to. The song says he would not come down from the cross to save himself, but he decided to save me. He did that because he was trusting in the power of God. He knew that the power of God had given him the power to lay down his life and to pick it back up again. Even in the midst of troubled times, we can declare that we are anything but victims, that in God we have the victory. Somebody said, they that trust in the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Trust in the power of God. Trust in his authority. Trust in his ability to work his power in your life. Not only was Jesus trusting in God's plan, not only was he trusting in God's power, I want you to know that Jesus was trusting in God's presence when he said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. It's amazing. Just a little while earlier, he had said, Father, why have you forsaken me? So how does one who at one moment felt the forsaking of God now say to God, I'm putting in you my spirit. I'm putting in your hands my life. God, I'm turning my life, my spirit, my very being over to you. You know, Richard Rohr says that two people who are dancing, sometimes the one who is leading, while sometimes they're giving you strong direction and stepping towards you, or turning you, or making you move this way or that way. Every now and then, the one who is leading has to step back. And the question for the one who is following is, when the one who is leading steps back, what are you going to do? Every now and then, the God who leads us, the God who dances with us, the God, our Father, who dances with his children, every now and then he has to step back. But I want you to know that the step back of God is nothing more than an invitation for us to step forward, for us to move towards the one who is guiding us and leading us in the dance. God says, during this time when it seems like the entire world is feeling the withdrawing of my spirit, he is saying to you, I'm inviting you to just step forward, to step closer to me, to step further into me, to know intimacy, to know me like you've never known before, to know me like you've never felt me before, to experience me like you've never experienced me before. I know it may seem confused right now. I know it may be scary right now. I know this may feel like a time when you can't trust, but I heard Jesus say to his disciples before he decided to surrender his life, he said, you believe in God? That word is translated trust. You trust in God, trust also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Behold, I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come again to receive you unto myself. And there's the kicker. He says, so that where I am, there ye may be also. Now, we always say that at funerals, but that's not just a word for funerals. That, just like this word from the cross, is a word from life. Jesus' words are words for life, and he invites us to know him in life, to come towards him. He says, so that where I am, there ye may be also. There's a song that says, I want to be where you are. Well, guess what? He wants us to be where he is. And he is everywhere. We are seated in heavenly places for Christ right now. He wants us to walk in him, to talk in him, to know him in pure intimacy and love. Take this time to move toward the one who is stepping back, toward the one who is leading you in the dance, that we might know him. Say to God right now, wherever you are, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit.